Hello everyone and welcome to this very special session we've got with the Festival of Apprenticeships and us here at the BBC. Today we're celebrating National Apprenticeship Week, which is happening in England and Wales this week, and we're here to tell you all about what the BBC does and what opportunities we have for helping you start your career with us. So my name is Kate. I'm here with my colleague Elena, and we work for the Early Careers team in the Academy at the BBC, and we're based in Birmingham. And we'd also like to introduce Miriam, who's here with a fabulous backdrop. She's been on one of our schemes and can tell you really what it's like to be a BBC apprentice. So we will be meeting her a bit later on. Thank you for joining us, Miriam. So today we'll be giving you an insight into some of our apprenticeship schemes that we run and how you can apply for them, and even hopefully giving you a few top tips about how to apply and what to do on your application. But before we start, we thought we'd give you a taste of what the BBC does and has been doing for the last 100 years. It really does have something for everyone.
We're on air in 5, 4.
BBC One.
Well, defining the BBC's role involves answering the central question, what is public service broadcasting?
It literally means provide...
Boring!
Let me rephrase that.
The BBC
Has something
for everyone!
everyone.
that includes you.
Caroline and John from Cornwall.
So the question is, what do you want?
How about a full throttle tango?
Or
A high-ranking corrupt police officer with a soft centre.
Or
Do you require assistance?
Think about the square root of 350,000 litres of milk.
what about banger of the...
Banger.
But there's more to it than that.
the BBC is
A unique experiment.
There's no angle, there's
No bias vibes.
no sponsors.
Interfering with play.
It's a bridge.
between us.
A common ground between us.
Look a bit closer.
It's a reflection.
Of who we are. But here's the thing.
The BBC
Doesn't have to be here. It only exists
If we really believe...
it matters.
We're in it together, aren't we? Let's do this.
Come here.
The BBC.
There's something that belongs to all of us.
Every one of us. Every one of us.
Well,
We're on air in
oh,
5,
sorry.
4.
Technical hitch.
We're on air in 5.
Oh gosh, sorry everybody. Not used to handling the technical equipment there, but you've had an idea there about what the BBC has been doing for the last 100 years, and the important thing to take away from it is that we would really like you to be part of the next 100 years. This is the BBC's centenary year. You may not have recognised many of those programmes, but I think what the film shows you is that the BBC generally does a lot more than people tend to realise. We get 468 million viewers globally on radio and on our radio and TV channels, and that's every week, 468 million every week. There are 9 national television services, which you can see there. There are also 13 nations and regional television services, and we also have 10 national radio services. In addition to that, we get well over 4 billion requests for streaming on iPlayer. That was in the last year. We got well over 4 billion requests. And if that weren't all enough, we broadcast in 40 languages, 40 different languages across the world via radio and online. So to make all of that content and what you've seen there, what we need are some brilliant people to work here, and that's where you come in. And there are so many different areas that you could choose from. My background is in production, which I think you've probably guessed that it wasn't in design and engineering because I'm not very technical. But I have worked at the BBC in production for over 20 years. Working in production means maybe you want to start as a runner. That would be an entry-level position in production, or you might want to be a camera operator, for example. If you are technically inclined, and much more so than I am, then perhaps you want to work in software or data. It may be that, like Miriam, your heart lies in journalism and you want to tell the stories of the world around you, or global stories, and you're desperately keen to tell those and share them with audiences that you don't think we're reaching at the BBC, or on platforms that you don't think we're using at the BBC. You might want to be a reporter. You might want to be a studio manager in journalism. Or you might want to work in one of our more functional areas, which keep the business of the BBC going. And then you could aim for a role in human resources, or perhaps you might want to work in accountancy, or even tax and legal. There are many, many different routes into the BBC through our apprenticeship schemes. And there are apprenticeship schemes in all of these 4 areas that you see here on the screen. There are a lot of different routes into the business. To give you an overview in terms of apprenticeships, but to give you an overview, there are 4 types of apprenticeships in the UK, and the BBC concentrates on 3 of those. We have advanced, higher and degree level apprenticeships, and they're the equivalent, starting from the advanced, they're the equivalent of A levels, and then a foundation degree or above, and then a bachelor's or a master's degree. You can see that the BBC, from that range of areas that we showed you, offers an awful lot of apprenticeships. But what does an apprenticeship in any one of those areas actually mean? Well, for a start off, like all apprenticeships, it's on-the-job learning. You earn while you learn. So you get a salary while you're an apprentice, not accruing any debt like you might if you were to choose the university route. You also get a placement in one of the areas, maybe in our newsrooms in journalism, or maybe in one of our content areas like sport or education, children's, drama, entertainment, factual. The film we showed before shows you the range of kind of content that we produce. It might be in one of our local radio or television, regional television centres. It might be in a broadcast area, or perhaps working with a tech ops team. Those tech ops teams are sometimes out on broadcast doing big sporting events, or, for example, Wimbledon or the Olympics, or the BBC Proms, or Big Weekend or Glastonbury. You might want to work in archives and facilities, or indeed you might want to work in our service centres and business areas. For all of the apprenticeship schemes, you get an accredited qualification, and you spend a minimum of 20% of your time studying with an external learning provider. The different schemes, those different levels that we just spoke about there, the advanced, higher and degree apprenticeships, they all have different entry-level criteria. In fact, some of them don't require any formal qualifications at all. And in all except our production schemes and production management schemes, people are hired on a continuing contract, i.e. at the end of their successful completion of their apprenticeship, they become a member of staff and they go on to a continuing contract at the BBC. We don't do with that in our production and production management schemes, because that's more reflective of what the actual industry is like. You are hired on a fixed term contract, as we call it, and if you're doing a production or production management apprenticeship, and then you would be looking for similar fixed term contracts at the end of the successful completion of the apprenticeship.
I was just going to jump in there. So obviously we've got a huge number of opportunities, and a huge number of not just opportunities but areas of the BBC, and of course the nations and regions. So as we sort of move on, what we thought we'd do is just tell you about what information you can find on the website. So this is the website that's up on the screen now. So I'm just going to quickly share my screen and just talk you through the website a little bit. And sorry, here it comes. So hopefully you can see that. So this is the main page that you'll come to when you're looking at schemes and apprenticeships. So you can scroll down. Obviously, everyone knows how to use a website, but just to give you an idea. So there's the 4 areas that we just looked at in terms of the different sections, and we'll let you know which ones are open for applications now. But then you obviously click into the area that you're most interested in. So, for example, design, engineering and technology. And then again, you can just scroll down and have a proper look at the types of schemes that are on offer. So it'll tell you the name of the scheme and the level. So obviously, as we were saying earlier, the level 6 is degree equivalent, level 7 is postgraduate. And you see there we've got levels 3 and 4, which are A levels and BTEC, HNC equivalents, etc. So if I just scroll down, just say, for example, I really am interested in user experience design. You just click, obviously, into the course that takes your fancy.
I definitely think I should be applying for this one, Coach.
Oh, nor me. I've had to rehearse this. I'll probably still do it wrong. So here we have two lovely people who look like they're enjoying their time at the BBC. So obviously there's the picture, but then of course it gives you a bit more information. So you're into the particular scheme now, and it just highlights the all-important salary information. For example, you'll see the locations there. This particular one is in Cardiff, Glasgow, London and Salford as an example. So that's great. It takes 4 years to do, and it just tells you a little bit more about what you'll be doing and the eligibility criteria, what they're looking for and so on. So that's really useful there. And then what you can do from there, if you decide you really want to go for it, obviously you apply now. And this will take you through to our Careers Hub website. And that's all our normal jobs or non-apprenticeship jobs are advertised on there. So you can register there for job alerts if that's what interests you. But in this particular case, all our schemes are listed on our Careers Hub website. And this tells you really the nitty-gritty about the role. And obviously, if you click on there, you can apply for it. But the things to just remember here are when you go right down to the bottom, there's some added information. So you've got the values guide, which tells you about the BBC. Obviously, it's very important to understand what the BBC stands for. So there's that. The candidate pack has all the detailed information about where you apply to and all the different things that they'll ask you to do. And then the job description, also very important, because that's what you're training to do. That's the job position that you're training to do. So you need to look at that. So that's how the website works, and the Careers Hub website. And you just click on that, and hopefully we'll see some of you applying through that system going forward. Right, I am going to just stop sharing, hopefully. There we go. Have I come off that at all? There we go. Back to Elena.
Mm-hmm. All being well. Can you see the PowerPoint?
Not quite.
Well, I would not be getting a place on any of the schemes. That much I do know. It's happening. It's happening. Don't panic. We can see it there.
There we go. Brilliant.
Lovely. So we have a lot of apprenticeships that you're able to apply for throughout the whole year. They all open at slightly different times. We usually have an intake in September across all of the schemes though, but those apprenticeships that you've seen and that we've spoken about so far, they are across the whole of the UK. Right now, our production and journalism schemes are open, both the more advanced level and the fast track, which is entry level from 18. In fact, they're both you're able to apply for advanced and fast track as long as you're 18 and above, but they do have slightly different requirements, perhaps entry level requirements. Our business and technology schemes will open again later in the year. And also coming up for anybody who is joining us from the Midlands, we have got a very exciting initiative that we're starting in the West Midlands. It's called the Apprentice Hub, and the BBC will then be rolling that particular initiative out across the UK as we go forward. But keep your eyes peeled for that if you are in the Midlands. The BBC is working with local creative businesses and placing people in placements across a whole variety, not just what you might consider the traditional creative broadcast elements like TV and radio and online, but lots and lots of different things, virtual reality, lots of exciting opportunities there.
So now you've heard sort of what it's possible to do. Let's talk to somebody who's actually done it, which is brilliant. I think we all wish we'd had a chance to do it, actually. It sounds like an amazing opportunity. So please welcome former journalism apprentice Miriam Barker. Thank you for joining us, Miriam. So
thanks for having me.
So first of all, just very briefly tell us which scheme you did and what you're doing now.
I did the journalism apprenticeship scheme, and I am now a qualified journalist with a permanent full-time
And what
job
sort of
based
things are
in
you
Cardiff.
working on at the moment? Is it main news or?
Mainly news, yeah. I work particularly for the online team, so I work for the website and I do a lot of digital content. But you've caught me, let's say, good, bad time. I don't know. I'm currently in the process of doing a TV package, radio package, and an online piece for LGBT History Month for the whole
Wow,
newsroom.
gosh,
So
the
it's
whole
quite
newsroom
exciting.
there. That's amazing. Well, we'll have to look out for that. So that'll be online as well. Is that the national news, even though it comes from Cardiff?
Yeah, so it's a big piece that I'm working on
Fantastic.
with a few of my
So
colleagues
just
here.
going back to before you applied, what made you want to apply for this scheme?
I think for me, I've always been interested in journalism, but it never felt like it was a place for me. The BBC didn't look like it was a place for me, so I never did it. I didn't apply for the scheme till I was 28. Just because I didn't see anyone like me. I'm mixed race, and like my dad's Asian. I'm gay, and I come from a working class background, and the BBC just didn't feel like it was for me. I saw the apprenticeship advertised on Twitter, and I just thought, do you know what? If not now, when? And I gave it a bash, and lo and behold, they wanted me. It's quite surprising. So yeah, I moved to Cardiff and managed to get on the scheme. And honestly, like that realization of actually there are people like me, and people like me give different opinions, different ideas to the diversity of not only the newsroom but the entire organization. So that kind of understanding and that imposter syndrome I had was actually completely untrue. It made me realize that there are so many more people like me within this business, and I'm glad to be a part of it and to make that change as well.
I was just going to ask you actually, how does it feel, slightly aside from apprenticeship, how does it feel to be part of making the change and putting on the screen and on the radio more people, you know, who might attract a more diverse workforce?
It's unreal. I know, like Elena put them stats out earlier about the numbers of people that we attract, not only across the UK but across the world. But I do think that the BBC, we get a lot of stick about not covering maybe the right stories or speaking to the right types of people. And by me coming from my background and my experiences, actually my editors and my senior management are interested in hearing from me. So being able to actually go these stories and influencing how we do stories and influencing the type of people that we speak to allows us to be able to attract a wider audience and hopefully be able to get younger, more diverse people, not only interested in working for us, but interested in listening and hearing and watching our content.
Yeah, certainly in the outreach team, that's what we're trying to do, is attract as wide a pool of candidates as possible, because it's all about, you know, changing the perception of the BBC, which is brilliant. So just going back to sort of doing your apprenticeship, what are the benefits of doing an apprenticeship as sort of on the job type of training as opposed to doing it maybe just in college or somewhere?
It was great. I mean, you get the training, you get all the support, so you get to do the background learning. So I got to learn about media law, I got to learn about public affairs, I got to learn about how to use a camera, how to use the radio stuff. But it wasn't just going, right, I've got 3-4 years or however many years in college to learn this, and then utilizing those skills on a daily basis. So I'm not forgetting, I'm actually involved in newsroom stories, like I'm being sent out on stories and I'm being able to use the skills that I'm learning and just being able to offer ideas. Like, I don't think that's possible, like being listened to and actually being valued in a workspace. I don't think you get that at colleges or universities when you're doing your learning. And for me, it was just being slightly older as well. It was an opportunity to be able to go, these are my ideas, and actually seeing them executed rather than waiting. And I don't know, I think I've never been to university or college, and it just felt like it's great. And I think they are great opportunities, but being able to just go, I'm being trained by an industry, by an organization who is at the top form, and they want me and they're giving me the skills to be able to go out and shoot and edit and work on stories and speak to people. Like, that experience is invaluable. Like, I don't think I've had any opportunity like that before, and I don't think I ever will again. But for me, what was massive is I was able to do it in COVID as well. Like, the support that the BBC gave me was huge. And I don't think I would have been able to achieve that if I was at university doing a journalism degree or a media degree. I think the support that I was given here, and if I can do it during COVID, anyone can do it during any time, to be honest.
Absolutely. And you've got the reassurance as well of knowing that you've got the job at the end of it, and you're not going to get into debt, because a lot of career changers or people who don't come straight out of school perhaps have got that, that situation where they need to earn a living as well.
Absolutely. I think if we look at the current climate, like the cost of living for everyone is massive, and I think particularly for young people, we kind of forget how much pressure and stress that is in terms of studying, working, looking like getting on the housing ladder. And this, although, and it's not the BBC's fault, but though apprenticeship wages aren't obviously relative, and that's something that the government are looking at, I think it's such an important opportunity to be able to go, do you know what, I'm valued and I'm able to earn while, like Elena said, earn while you learn. There's no better opportunity.
Fantastic. So very briefly, so we might want to come to some questions for you at the end. Have you got a couple of top tips, or what is your one top tip for sort of applying and getting through the application?
Be passionate, put your personality across there. Don't think that the BBC are looking for a certain type of person. We're not. They want you and they want your experiences. So be honest, be open, and be yourself, because there isn't a cut out type BBC person, like 100%. I'll tell you that. And I thought that 3 years ago when I applied, and there genuinely isn't. I'm sat here in the newsroom with bright pink hair, like no one cares, and they want you to be you. So honestly, that's the best piece of advice I'd give. Like, be you, be passionate.
That's brilliant. And I love the fact you said that's that's what we're looking for, because you are now the BBC, and it's a we feeling, and we want you. So I think that's fabulous. So thank you so much. Hopefully we'll have time to come back to you at the end, if you don't mind staying on the line, just to answer a few questions if they come in. But thank you for the time being. You've really brought the scheme alive to us. So that's brilliant.
Thank you.
So obviously the application process can be a little bit daunting, but there's a few sort of top tips that we can think about. I mean, and first and foremost, as we've just heard, show your passion. I think that's the main thing. It could be a passion for anything. It doesn't have to be necessarily a passion for EastEnders or a programme or something like that. Just show us what motivates you and, makes you come alive, which is brilliant. Tell us a little bit about why you want to do an apprenticeship. What is it that attracts you to doing this scheme? It could, you might have a very personal reason for doing it. So tell us a little bit about that. And why do you want to do it at the BBC? What is it that attracts you? Do a little bit of research. What is it that we're doing that you love, or what is it that we're doing that you don't like at all? What could you help us change? What could you bring to it and help us with? So that would be, really great to put on your application form. Show us why you should be joining us. What's your potential? How far can you go? What are your ambitions? What heights can you climb to? Why you? What's your ambition? And I think most importantly, be yourself. Just people often say be your authentic self, which sounds a bit sort of management speak, but basically just be you, come across as you, because that's what we want to see. We don't want you to trot out a line or something specific. We just want to see you. So here's hoping that all that information has been inspiring for you and a bit helpful and so on. If you want to find out any more, please go to our website, like we've said. But before we go and do some questions, we thought we'd just tempt you to apply with just showing you what possibilities the BBC could bring you.
This is pure corruption.
Yo, yeah.
And the answer is, we're out.
So everybody, if that doesn't tempt you, if that end clip doesn't tempt you to come and work here, I don't know what will. Well, actually, I do know not what will. I have known Miriam for a little while now, since she started on her apprenticeship, actually, and it is not for nothing that I call her the marvellous and magnificent Miriam. I think she's really inspirational. I think if you have any thoughts that are aligned to what Miriam has talked about there, please do apply. Please do come and join us. We want you to make the next 100 years of the BBC what it ought to be for all of our audiences all over the UK and the world.
I think we've only got 5 minutes. We've gone a bit longer because it was so interesting to talk to Miriam, actually, and I think really useful. We've just got a couple of questions that have come in, and I'm just going to address one to you, Elena, if that's right.
Yes, of course.
Somebody's just asking, because having COVID and got in the way of getting experience, this person's a bit worried about not having enough experience might be a barrier. But what would you say in terms of entry requirements and so on?
Not having experience for one of the schemes. Well, I would say for the production schemes, I used to manage the production schemes in England. I would say that experience, that is a very broad term, and I think it applies to journalism as well. If you have a mobile phone, if you can create content, if that's an area you want to go into, it all ties into this. The big theme that we're talking about in all of this is passion and potential and authenticity. Create content, have views on content. If you want to work in an area like Miriam, be mindful of the world around you, be mindful of the stories that we're not telling, or are we telling the stories but not in the right way for the audiences that they need to reach? If we're not going on experience, entry-level schemes are not about where you have been in terms of experience. They are about the potential of where you are going. Where you have been as you, a person and an individual, and all your life experiences and your stories, that is important, but it isn't about that experience in that sort of very traditional sense. It isn't about that. It's about where you're going that we're looking at. So please don't censor yourself and rule yourself out if you think I haven't got any experience. That is what we are looking for. These are entry-level schemes, and we teach you the hard skills, but you've got to bring that passion with you to the table. I hope that has helped answer your question. It might depend if you want to do a broadcasting thing and engineer. If you want to do business and technology, it might be a bit different. There are naturally, as you might assume, there are some different entry level criteria there because they are different kind of roles. But all of that is explained on that website that Kate went through with you. And as I say, I hope that's given you some insight into that question about experience.
Definitely. We've definitely had some comments thanking Miriam. I think Miriam has definitely been the star of our show. So it's just as well our technological exploits were outshone by our guests. There's a couple of people asking if we can go and do talks for them. So that'll be really nice if we can go and meet people. Hopefully we'll be able to get out into the wider world now. If you
may register your if I don't know if we have the details there because I'm in the page with the PowerPoint presentation, but if you register your details, it would be great actually to know if you wanted us to come and have a talk. That is something that we really enjoy doing, is coming out and actually speaking with people one-to-one. So if you're able to, obviously in a data protection way, don't disclose any details that you're not comfortable with, or indeed message us. We have actually that's a better idea. We have a email address which is Kate apprenticeships@bbc.co.uk.
That's right. Yes, you can always drop us a line and find out more, but it's worth just going through the website, even if you're not going to be graduating till next year, or you're thinking that you're in another career and you're just thinking about things. Just have a scroll through, because it plant the seed of things you might want to sort of work towards in the future. Obviously, we are hoping to get out and about more. As I say, later on in the year, we'll be doing more careers fairs and different things sort of going forward. And in the summer, we've got a bit more time when less of the schemes are open sort of to prepare for the next set of schemes. So we will be doing sort of some talks and things, and we will hopefully be attending the Festival of Apprenticeships live careers fair in Manchester at the beginning of July. So we're very much hoping that we will get there, because I can see there's a query from Media City, which is in Salford, which we're very very much be in that catchment area. So very much hoping to do that. And thank you for the Festival of Apprenticeships for having us on during this apprenticeship week. I think really just to say, give it a go. You know, there's varied entry requirements. Don't think that you're counted out for any reason at all. You know, look at the different areas you could apply. There's, you know, we've got one in Dumbarton in Scotland at the moment. We've got Belfast, we've got Jersey, we've got, I think there's one girl at the moment in the Orkney Islands. Is that right? I think journalism.
There's certainly somebody in Shetland. There's certainly somebody in Shetland up there. But I would say, actually, just to pick up on that point, Kate, that you said, heed Miriam's words. We really echo all of that. And thank you from me as well for joining us. And thank you to the Festival of Apprenticeships. But to pick up on the last point, don't censor yourself out of it. If you are interested in anything that the BBC has got to offer, in anything at all, please don't censor yourself. Don't, if nothing else, get past that first hurdle or that first block. That you don't put that in the way of your own potential and opportunities, that because there really is no reason to do that.
And we were speaking to somebody yesterday who succeeded on their third attempt. So learned something from the application process each time. So the first time applied, second time got through to the second stage, and finally the third time she got through. So it's worth persevering if it's something that, you know, that you want to do.
And on that note, actually, just to conclude, that person persevered and they were resilient, and you do need a bit of resilience to work in our industry. But I hope that person, I hope that person was reacting to and that was a product of what our managing director once said, Bob Shannon, managing director of the BBC: know your worth, and have faith in it, please.
That's brilliant. Right, I think we've come to the end of our time, actually, but thank you so much, everybody, and thank you, Miriam, and we're going to let you go off, and I'm going to certainly hope to see your item on the news.
Yes, absolutely.
All news
outlets. Share it with us. Thank you. Take care.
All right, thanks very much, everybody.
Thank you.
Take
Bye-bye. Good